Before we go get started tonight, ladies and gentlemen, no episode here or fast break here on IE Sports Radio. I want to introduce y'all to our sponsor, the Southern California Warriors semi-pro football team. The world of semi-pro sports is unlike any other sports organization. Players play in hopes of so different outcomes, whether it's playing to get film to try for professional teams, big-time colleges, or just playing to stay in shape. No matter what, all semi-pro players have one thing in common, and that's playing for the love of the game. The SoCal Warriors have been on the quest to earn titles and give players second chances since 2017. Whether you're in Southern California or anywhere in the world, give semi-pro sports a chance if you love your sport. You may get that second chance you've been waiting for as an athlete. You can find them on social media at Twitter at SoCal Warriors, on Instagram, Southern California _Warriors, and on Facebook, Southern California Warriors. Now on to the show. Davidson here tonight, Ryan and Solo tonight here on Fast Break. I'm going to discuss and preview Game 7 of the NBA Conference Finals between the Heat and Celtics, who comes out top, who I think will win, and plus, who should Golden State Warriors prepare to play for, or who they should who they want to play. And plus, here on IE Sports Radio, we are kicking off this week a What Up series in sports landscape, your sports landscape in your sport. I'll discuss mine, what is, and I'd like to hear y'all's here live on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all the sports, and you're welcome to join us. Join us as you shout tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Lots to talk about, lots to get into. We got a very big Game 7 tonight. When's that matchup 111? When's that matchup 111-103 on Friday? Got a very big game from Jimmy Butler. 47 points for him. Really carried the team, really hit some tough shots, and did it all mostly. 6 points for Bam Adebayo, 9 rebounds for him. He's got to show up next game. But I think Game 6 was Jimmy Butler staving off elimination. Staving off elimination and forcing Game 7 down in South Beach. Granted, you got 30 quality points from Jason Tatum and 22 off the bench for Derek White, but it wasn't quite enough. Miami made enough strong plays at the end of the game to kind of keep things at bay. And now we're here on this Sunday evening previewing Game 7. Now, what y'all think? Who's going to come out on top today in Game 7? Miami, Boston. Who y'all got? Let me know in the comment section. For me, while I preview this game, I'll go to the Boston side of things since they're the visitors. You need your 1-2 punch in Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum to be all they can be. I think you need at least 25 apiece from these two guys to order to win this game. And I'm not talking about 25 points. Yeah, you get your 25 points, whatever. It's got to be efficient shooting. Because y'all look at this series, besides this game here, by every other game, it's kind of like been a blowout. If you really think about it, every game in this series has been a blowout prior to Game 6. Like some reason or other, that third quarter has been bad for each team in this series. When the victor came out on top, really bad. So for this one, especially for both teams, I think for me, I look at that third quarter. Who's gonna come out after halftime and put the screws to one another? Who's gonna be that team that come out that third quarter and kind of take the charge? If this game's close in that first half, come third quarter, who's gonna take that charge? Who's gonna lead that way? And I think for Boston, Tatum and Brown gotta come off hot. They gotta come on strong. You know, Marcus Smart, he shot 1 for 9 for 3-point land. I know sometimes if Marcus Smart is one of those players that if he's on, he's on. But if he's not, I'm not saying it's not the worst thing in the world, but sometimes the shoot ain't there. The shoot ain't there. And I'm looking for another key player for Boston, Grant Williams. Grant Williams has got to be really relied on. Uh, Grant Williams, the guys that have been really relied on these past couple of series for the Celtics. We see, his profile rise, and not like a star wise, but role player wise. Like a guy, he's going to be around the league for a good while, barring any bad injuries happening to him. But this guy, we talked about on the show here for the past couple of weeks, and talk about the Celtics. This guy getting in foul trouble too much at times. Me personally, when I talk, me and D-Law discussed, I felt sometimes this guy trying to do too much. So for him, another key for the Celtics, if they're gonna win this game, Grant Williams gotta stay out of foul trouble. He's gotta be on the court. If he's gonna play heavy minutes, he's gotta be on the court. I think Al Horford could have a bounce back game for the Celtics. Didn't play his best in Game 6. He gotta have a bounce back as well. I do want to shout out to the chat real quick. Shout out to Tam Rodriguez. Shout out to the founder, Larry B. And shout out to Marcus, Los, great. Drop in y'all what else in basketball, fellas. I know y'all dropped some in already. I'll go over mine at the last segment of the show. Y'all got some real interesting ones. I'll go over some of mine later on. But hopefully I got some more than that. But anyways, and you just joining, D-Lock's on vacation, riding solo tonight. Back to Game 7 here. Celtics can't go 11 for 33 for 3-point land again. That's another thing. When they're on 3-point land, they're on. And that part right there, if you at least shooting half for 3-point land, 50% or a little bit less, about 45, I think you'll be in good standing against this Heat team. And also, people been kind of putting Jason Tatum in that top 10 category in the league. You're on the road. You're one game from the NBA Finals. The previous times that you got in this position with this Boston Celtic team, you've been denied. You've been denied by this Miami Heat team. You've been denied by LeBron James and Cleveland Cavaliers. If if we're going to note you at that top 10 position, this is your time to shine. This is like one of these games you say, fuck everything, excuse my language, and go win this game for your squad. If this is one of those games, this has got to be it. If you won't go down, and I can't believe these words come out of my mouth, in Boston glory, this is your time to shine. For the Miami Heat side of things, Jimmy Butler's been dealing with knee inflammation, whatnot. He had a hell of a game 6. I think the main thing for Miami to keep an eye on is hopefully he didn't assert all his energy into that game 6 and then come out flat game 7. That's a very quality question. Now, does Jimmy, as tough as he is, suck it back up and kind of wins that game? It helps, lead the charge again. Hey, good possibility. But Miami should be so dependent on him. They should, but it's going to come a tall task again to put 47 again. Never 40-point game against this Celtic team. It's going to be tough. This is why I circle my eyes to Bam Adebayo. Didn't have the world's best game. Only played 41 minutes, took 6 shots in that game. But that's got to be better. That's going to be way better. Mr. Adebayo has to show up. And I'm talking about at least 2010 game. That he got to at least show up there. And make some key defensive plays that put this team over the top. He can't come out flat again like this. He got to at least shoot the ball at least 15 times. Get those guys in foul trouble. Get those guys like Grant Williams, Al Horford, Robin Williams in foul trouble. So the Celtics go deeper in their bench. And we really can go to work and get your money's worth. I look at Kyle Lowry. Played a hell of a game 6. Fouled out, though. But he was in there, in the lane, stripping at the ball. Need to see that again for him. Putting it all out there. I know he's slowly getting back to shape and whatnot, for the Heat. But we need that game 6 performance without the fouling out applied to game 7 tonight. And then before I make my game prediction, Victor Oladipo has been a good steady hand this playoff run when it called upon. I think if he comes out and have a good game and kind of like, counters if a good game by like a Derek White or Grant Williams off the bench, I think he's kind of key, to that. Can he have a good game himself? Can he, when he comes in guarding these guys in the second unit, can he shut them down? Can he keep them at bay? Can he turn the clock a little bit and get back to that Victor Oladipo back in Indiana and get you like 15, 20? And one more thing, strategy-wise for the Heat. Don't let guys like Daniel Tice and Peyton Pritchard come off the bench and beat you. Don't let those guys come off the bench, get like 10, 12 points, and they're momentum swingers. You can't let that happen. You're too good a defensive team like that happen. Don't let those guys like that kind of sneak up on you and beat you. And I agree with Marcus. Yeah, Horford, scoring wise, he got to have a bounce back game. Well, I just lay out in the preview, if I'm expecting Bam at least have 20, Al Horford got to at least match that. Plus rebounding too. He's got to match that as well. And you hope if he's matching what Bam's producing, if Jimmy Butler is having a decent game, then you hope Brown and Tatum can take you home if you're the Celtics. So everything I took into consideration right there, everything I had to say right there to you, ladies and gentlemen. Who do I got winning this game? It's very tough. It's very tough. Who's going to win this game? Most wins in this series has been won by double digits a lot. Maybe game 3 when the Heat won by 6. Other than that, double digit wins. And Terry Rodriguez saying, "Hey, the Heat can't play hero ball. They need hero. Tyler Hero is playing tonight. I failed to mention that. Thank you, Terry, for that. He's been out for the past couple games. What's he going to bring to the table? And can he help with the scoring of Jimmy Butler? Both of these guys got injuries. They both missed a couple games in this series. Jimmy Butler missing one game, Hero missing another. Well, Jimmy missing a half. Excuse me. But you get my point. What's Tyler Hero going to bring to the table? Can he come in with the rest and in Game 7 come in and give you 15 off the bench? Can he give you solid minutes against the Celtics? Tough to say. Tyler Hero got that dog in him. Tough to say. He could come out. He could come out cold in this series. In this game. So you think about all that. You factor all that in. It's real tough. Who's going to come out on top? The Miami Heat is a team that we talked sparingly about over the course of the season. It's like they're that one steady team throughout the season that just did their job. Should have gave them more cover in this on the show this season. We talked about the Celtics pretty decently. I love the hire a Coach Dakota, and he finally got the head coaching job, and he kind of really elevated the roster that Brad Stevens has had and took it to a different level. And don't get me wrong, I love Brad Stevens as a coach. He gets the most out of his players. See what he did at Butler. But at the NBA, sometimes it is kind of at certain times it didn't just click. Look at the Heat side of things, coaching wise. Spoelstra has been one of the more consistent coaches here in the NBA for the past decade. Miami Heat organization, I give them credit. I give them credit. They keep a weight regimen on, a body fat regimen on. They found undrafted players that come in and start for them and give them the quality minutes over this past couple years. They've done a tremendous job. And I probably say the weight regimen and the body fat thing. I think that's part of the reason why they always have stayed in contention despite the pieces they lost over the years. Pieces they lost over the years and pieces they added. But if you got a system that works and everybody buys in, you can stay afloat until something good comes along or a certain player develops, like a Bam Adebayo, like a Jimmy Butler coming down. So, saying on that, who would I got winning this game? I think the Miami Heat used all his gas on Game 6. I think Boston will win this game. The Boston Celtics will win this game. By how much? I don't know. It really don't matter. It's Game 7. But give me Boston to win this game. I know, and I kind of go back what me and D-Law talked about the other day. I said Miami, and then I really thought about it. Damn, Jimmy Butler really went all out there. At the time, we didn't know Tyler Hero status. I got the more thinking over the weekend and stuff like that. And I thought about this. Jason Tatum didn't really have a bad game in a sense on Game 6. He really didn't. And that's why I'm going to kind of bank on there. He's going to rise to the top. We're going to see a big game out of him with a little help of Marcus Smart. And I think Boston's going to win this game. I'm not saying Jimmy's going to come out flat, but he's going to have some struggles. And he's going to miss some shots down the stretch that it's kind of like make or break at a certain point in the game. I think Bam Adebayo will come out strong, but like Marcus alluded to, I think Horford kind of has a bounce back game and kind of cancel that out. But I think Jason Tatum, and I just talked about earlier, he's got to be the guy. If we're gonna know true top 10 with Giannis, Luka, Jokic, who else I'm thinking of? Devin Booker. Kevin Durant. Joel Embiid. I could be missing a couple guys, but you get what I'm saying. Then this is your time, bud. I agree. Shout out to Mike Pat in the chat. I agree with Mike. This is Tatum's statement game. Mike saying Tatum drops 35. I think that's what's going to be needed to beat this Heat team. And also, one more thing for Boston before I move on to the next subject. One more thing. Come out and jump ahead on Miami. I don't know if that Heat crowd is going to be there on time or whatever. They've probably been partying and doing a sugar booger business. But take care of that. But come out and take them out the game early. But that got empty seats and stuff in there. Take advantage of that. Get out, lead the team, and get that crowd out the way. And if you do that, that'll go a long way for you winning that game. Because if not, they'll get in, and then, hey, momentum shift possibly. But like I said, give me Boston to win that game. Don't know how much, but Boston will win, and Jason Tatum will have a show-out game. But here at IE Sports Radio, ladies and gentlemen, we've been on the air here for 8 years. Long 8 years to give y'all good quality contact here on the interwebs. For the last 8 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. All the while, we've been continuing to be by the fans, for the fans, and with your help, we are ready to take that next step. When you go to our website, iSportsRadio.com, you'll see our Patreon link for 5 different tiers. The first one started at $5 a month. The second donation gets you shout-outs on all 32 of our shows. Higher tiers include IE Sports Radio merchandise, access to our podcasting university, and even a chance to be featured on a segment of our flagship show, The Defining Moment. Thank you all very much for continuing to make IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all his sports. So, went almost 30 minutes there, previewing our conference finals right there. I'll turn attention to the West Coast. Golden State handled Dallas this past Thursday, 120 to 110. And the thing that kind of got me with that series, looking back at it, Dallas in a way kind of matched up with them, but it didn't really take advantage of it. If you catch my drift. Some things, if I was coach of the Mavericks, I would have done differently. And let me see what y'all think about this. The Mavs run a 5-out system. For some who don't know basketball, familiar with that, or schemes or that. 5-out is basically when you got 5 perimeter-centric players all along about the 3-point line. Now, you could have your big man. You could have your big man spaced like to kind of keep some space in some or some presence out. You probably have it at the high post around the free throw line. Even in that, sometimes you keep him at the 3-point line. And you kind of space out, let go wide so and dribble penetrate. If you don't find nothing, go into the basket, whatnot. You kick it out and keep that constant moving going. You keep that defense that's always prepared one pass away. You kind of try and get them off. When I look at the scheme and stuff, I would went smaller than what they have done. If I was Jason Kidd, looking back at this series, I would have looked at small ball 5. Now some of y'all probably thinking, well, Davidson, where are you going with this? Well, think about it. Draymond, at most times, was their small ball 5. Now, granted, they kind of let they let Kevon Looney be a factor in this series. In the perfect world, if Luka was a half decent defensive player, Looney will be a non-factor. and you probably take him out the game, and you really, 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 really take advantage of the 5 out. And you have a line of Luka, Bronson, Dinwiddie, Bullock, and Finley Smith out there. Now I know, yeah, you keep a Dinwiddie off the bench just in case your starters are going cold, but you know who else you really got? Tim Hardaway was out. You played Nikita Tila a little bit, but he ain't giving you nothing like that. Bertans, it's like he and Duncan Robinson are in the same boat, stealing money. It's amazing those guys get $85-90 million a piece to be spaced out 3-point shooters, and they can't get on the floor on a consistent basis. That's just damn near egregious. The guys in the G League could do what they do at a fraction of the cost. I can start naming names, but I ain't gonna do that. Well, I named one, John Petty. He used to play for University of Alabama. Just throw a name out there. But anyways, that's who I would kind of have had the offense running in. Play those guys heavy minutes. Don't try to foul too much. If I got I'll bring Kleber out the bench and Nikhil Tiller off the bench. That's really about it. Cut it down to 7. I just thought it was a wasted opportunity to kind of really take this series to 7. It really didn't do enough, in my humble eyes. Luka can get buckets. Ain't nobody doubting that. He can get buckets. But, and I'm just going through the lens of Jason Kidd and his offense. You should have taken more advantage of the Warriors. Steph Curry ain't the best man-to-man guy on defense. We all know that. Klay Thompson is coming back from 2 devastating leg injuries. You take advantage of that. You run screen and rolls with your guards. You got 5 guys out there. Screen and roll on them. Play off the switches. And especially with Brunson, Dinwiddie, and Doncic. And especially if in a 5 out in a kind of a half court set, you gotta take advantage of that. And they really didn't do it at times. They did every once in a while, but it should have been more. Now some of y'all probably say, yeah, the Warriors, their championship team, all that stuff, skip, whoop-de-whoop. Yes, I understand that, but still. You gotta take advantage of these teams' weakness. Got to. I said, and say this for Dallas. Go to the Warriors. You got a franchise player in Luka Doncic. I think playing 5 out is and 5 out offense is not best to his abilities, like Jason Kidd runs. So, how do they improve on this team? Change up the offense. I mean, yeah, you can play fast and stuff like that, but sometimes Luka, he don't like he should. He's very Tracy McGrady-esque, if you really think about it, without the real athleticism. Scoring wise, he's very similar to Tracy McGrady. If he had the athleticism of Tracy McGrady, then shit. Excuse my language, but shit. You talking about like at least top 2 in the league or you can argue best player in the world. But it is what it is. But I think you got to concentrate this team more to a more half court set, and you transition to that. You got to get a big man in the fold. Now I looked in the past, see who's available and whatnot, who didn't get. Mark Cuban has come out and said, they're gonna bring back Jalen Brunson at all costs. I said, okay, let's go that path that Mark Cuban said. If you bring back Jalen Brunson at all costs, he's gonna probably get the max. So who can you get after that? I look at one player that's gonna be a free agent come here late June. And I mentioned his name before. He decided a 1-year deal to come back with Milwaukee. But Bobby Portis, he's only 27 years old. Yeah, he can come out and shoot the three a little bit, but he gives you enough respectability down low to kind of give you enough balance. And especially a half court set, and especially some toughness that Dallas desperately needs down low. Desperately. Because they had none in this playoff run. Luckily, they got by Utah. Luckily, for them, they shot the lights out against Phoenix. And then this series, like I alluded to by Kevon Looney, let that guy have double doubles in his sleep. And so, at which point, sometimes, if you take him out the game, he ain't playing that much. But Bobby Portis is the guy, if you bring back Jalen Brunson for the max, if you can swing it for Bobby Portis at a good price, he'd be a great addition for this team. Now, for me, if a Brunson not brought back and he got offered high money elsewhere by another team, what do you do next? Well, there's a certain center in Phoenix who wants his coins, DeAndre Ayton, who didn't get the money that he wanted. Now we got people in this network saying that Ayton's soft and whatever, and not really a max player. Even though there's evidence in the past years in the NBA that guys got max money and really don't show nothing for it. I look at Ayton, and if the Mavs front office can swing it and find a way, hey, that'll be awesome. I don't think he's soft. I mean, Mark is saying he's soft. I don't think he's soft. That's just me. Mark is saying he can get max money, but not my squad. Hey, if he does come back to Phoenix or not, he's gonna get max money somewhere. And if you're Dallas, if Brunson gets priced out, and what especially in this draft, you can get fine quality guards and whatnot. Why not take a stab and try and run for him? If you got to do a sign trade, maybe. And probably, sacrifice a Tim Hardaway and maybe a couple first round picks, so be it. but at least you get a threat down low that Luka can probably play off real well with. And Aiton's an excellent finisher down low. Sure, I agree with Marcus. Can he be a little more tougher inside and rebound more on a consistent basis? Yes. I prefer my big man to at least average at least 9-10 rebounds. It's gotta be like that. But for Dallas, if they want to stay in this position for a while and they got the player to keep them in a position like this, they got to find ways to improve their team. Because the Clippers will be back with a healthy Kawhi and Paul George in the fold. You know, I'm curious what the Kings going to look like with Mike Brown as a coach. Phoenix ain't going nowhere. Denver, barring health reasons, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr. Those guys. If that's a big if, especially for Michael Porter Jr. Big if they're healthy, how far can they go? Minnesota, had they finally turned the page, and start being in the playoffs on a consistent basis, or where they kind of tumble back down? What's going to happen with Portland? The Lakers. Darvin Ham got hired as a new head coach. All cool and well, but what's going to happen with Westbrook? What's going to happen with Anthony Davis? Who can they add to this team that can really help them? I saw on their YouTube page, not trying to sound like an Alabama homer, but they worked out Keon Ellis out of Alabama. And you talking about a young 3-and-D player that the Lakers need. He'd be an excellent addition to that team. If they can buy their way into the second round, he'd be perfect for that team. Long, 6'6", playing like an up-tempo system down Alabama with Nate Oates. Perfect for this team. Pelicans. With Zion, what's that team going to look like with him back in the fold? You found some defensive gems in Herb Jones. And I forgot the other little guard's name. So, yeah, if you're Dallas, you got to think about the other teams in your conference. Oh, I forgot about Memphis. Young team as well. Could they cash their chips in and get a veteran and to really elevate their team? So all those teams are just factored right there. Dallas got to stay ahead of the curve. Can they do that? Time will tell. And for Golden State, making the finals real quick. Hey, congrats to them. The past couple years, it's kind of been a struggle, injury-wise. Just Steph Curry, Clay, and whatnot. Trying to you brought in the D'Angelo Russell experiment, didn't work. Trading in for Andrew Wiggins, and it seems to be going well that way. I think for them, you potentially matched up with two defensive-minded teams, and you got to be prepared for that. And those defensive-minded teams got to be prepared for Thompson, Curry, and Jordan Poole has entered the chat. So who I think the Warriors prefer? I think both teams are kind of similar in a sense. I think individually, Boston has better individual players that you kind of take more serious. So if I was them, I prefer to probably see the Heat. But like I said, I think Boston's winning this game tonight. But we'll discuss the finals and stuff here down the road. But I need to get to this segment, our What If series here on iSports Radio. Lots of what is. I've been thinking about this for the past couple of days, and especially what is in basketball. And I'm just going to talk off my head. I always thought about this and stuff like that. Let me go with this one. What if I know y'all probably start groaning, but what if the league let the Chris Paul trade happen to the Lakers? And I think about this. And I think this is where some of these teams kind of, I wouldn't say shot themselves in the foot. And I'm not saying, hey, with Kobe and Chris Paul in the backcourt, hey, the Lakers probably went on a run. I'm not saying that. But if you look at that landscape of that original trade, the Lakers got rid of Pau Gasol. They got rid of Lamar Odom, who's very valuable for them off the bench. They kept Andrew Bynum, who, yes, was a good young player that Mr. Rodriguez brought up. But at that point, we knew he had the knee injuries, the knee issues and whatnot. And they valued him more than Gasol and Odom. Just think about that. Just really think about that. The Lakers gave up a lot in that trade for Chris Paul. Now, will that work? I don't know. I think those two in the backcourt have been deadly. But you gave up a lot down low to a young kid who's on very shaky knees. Very shaky knees. Now, could the Lakers, down the line and flip him for Dwight Howard? Possibly. But we would probably never know that. But I think those guys who complain, like a Cuban and Popovich, they kind of didn't wake up, they step back and smell the roses a little bit. They're like, well, hold on. If they're going to depend on that young guy, then I'll take my chances with that. Just saying. I think some of those people kind of jumped the gun on that. Never what if for me. Going back to the year 2020 in the NCAA tournament, when it got canceled and everything like that, who would have came out on top? Dayton was probably the hottest team in the country. And when things got shut down, NCAA started canceling things. It makes you wonder, with Obi Toppin and crew, Anthony Grant, could they made a run to the NCAA championship? Or could they possibly get tripped up somewhere in like the Sweet 16 or something like that? We're talking about Anthony Grant, who took over at VCU from Shaka Smart, who was one of those rising mid-major coaches that took the Alabama job, was average while he's down there. Should at least get one more year, my humble opinion. But anyways, got ousted. Went to work under Billy Dolvin in OKC. went back to the college game at Dayton, his alma mater, and got things cooking after a year. What could have been with him and that crew? Could they won the national championship? Or could they win and run like the 2000 Cincinnati Bearcats if Kenyon Martin never got hurt against St. Louis? Could they have won the NCAA championship? Pete Michael, Kenyon Martin, coached by Bob Huggins, could they win it run? That's a what if right there for me. What else is out there? Well, I'm thinking on top of my head. Just thinking, what if Jason Kidd went to San Antonio? When Jason Kidd was part of the Nets and he was a free agent, he took that visit to San Antonio. Him being paired up with Tim Duncan. What if that happened? How deadly would that be? Now, I think it was because Jason Kidd's son that he didn't want to leave New Jersey, that he stayed with the Nets. But what if Jason Kidd went to the Spurs? How many more rings do the Spurs win? That's a very interesting scenario right there. Very interesting scenario. What else is out there? I'll go for another thing for the Lakers real quick. What if the Lakers brought back Phil Jackson instead of Mike D'Antoni when they got rid of Mike Brown? What if they brought back Phil instead of Mike D'Antoni? Because I go back, if y'all don't remember this or not, but Phil Jackson years ago said in an interview, if he had to start with a franchise, a team, whatever, with one player, who would that be? He said Dwight Howard. And lo and behold, Dwight Howard, that 14 trade, got traded to the Lakers. Mike Brown gone. You had the perfect opportunity for Phil Jackson to be coach for the Lakers for Dwight Howard. And they went with Mike D'Antoni. And you can chalk it up to, personal beef between Jim Buss, the brother, and Phil Jackson, and that dynamic and whatever. But what happened when Phil took the charge instead of Mike D'Antoni? Are we talking about another run with the Lakers? Are we saying Kobe won't gotten hurt? Could have kept Dwight Howard in the fold? And Phil probably got the best out of him. Terry Rodriguez brought up, what if Shaq never got traded? That's a good one. But I think, to be honest, I think all the stuff going on, the toxicness, the Kobe Bryant trial, and Carmelo, trying to get at Kobe's wife, Gary Payton at times, being a headache. I think all that need to kind of be broken away. I like the haul the Lakers got. I kind of wish they kind of kept Caron Butler. Because you kind of look at it now, they trade for Kwame Brown and Chucky Atkins, and I forgot who else. And and that's another what if. What if they never trade for Kwame Brown and kept Caron Butler around? That's a big, nice what if right there. But I think all the stuff going on, Phil in the mix too. I think you kind of got to get away from that and whatnot. Trying to think one more before I get off the air here. Trying to think. Let's see. If LeBron James won a title with his first run in Cleveland, does he still leave Cleveland? What if? Does he still leave Cleveland or he stays there for the rest of his career? That's a big what if. Uh, get one more. The old story of Tim Duncan joining Orlando. What if, ownership, did give him to his demands and him and Grant Hill signed? Or, and then, think about this. Okay, they signed those two. Where does Tracy McGrady go? Does he stay in Toronto? Does he go elsewhere? Terry Rodriguez, real quick, he brought up about Ray Allen missed that corner in the three. That's a good one. If Ray missed that three, then I think we talk more about Tim Duncan, who should be more in the conversation as one of the best players of all time. If he missed that shot, I think we're talking Tim Duncan at one of the best of all time. And I think why Jordan gets more to the pub. Yeah, Terry. I was saying, if if Tim Duncan went to Orlando with the plan of Grant Hill going to Orlando, if ownership cave into Tim Duncan's demands and stuff like that, where would T Mac go? Does he stay in Toronto? Does he go elsewhere? And this is after post Jordan retirement. Could he maybe go to Chicago and be that dude? Like Jerry Krause kind of intended to. Lots of what ifs in basketball. But thank y'all for tuning in tonight. It's been a very fun show. Hope y'all watch the NBA Finals. I do want to shout out to our Patreon supporters. Marcus, Los Great, Key to the Gate, Bay Area Rays, and Anonymous. Thank y'all for contributing on our Patreon. Please continue to do so down the line. But this has been our show. Do tune in next week. Do check out iesportsradio.com. Do follow the show on Twitter at FastBreak at IESR. That's FastBreak IESR. And also, I do another show on the side called The Crooks Process. I talk about the recent mass shootings in Buffalo and in Texas. So, and a lot of rambling on that one. So, if you shut off for 10 minutes, I understand. But anyways, tune in next week. We'll talk NBA Finals and get y'all prepped for the draft. Until then, we out. Peace.